Welcome to episode 2 of Ball Striking Masterclass. I'm Kerrod Gray, once again here at Joondalup Resort in Perth, Western Australia. So just a quick rundown of what we covered in the first episode. As you can see, I've got this yellow stick down on the ground, and in the first episode we discussed what's called the low point, or where the club is going to strike the turf. We talked about the differences between good ball strikers and poor ball strikers. The best ball strikers would tend to make a brushing of the grass on the target side of this line down on the ground, and the worst ball strikers, the opposite, where they would tend to ground out a little bit too far back and behind. And today we're going to be talking about arc height. So what is arc height? So using my hula hoop again, we talked about low point being the point in which the club is at its lowest throughout the golf swing. Well, arc height is essentially how deep the golf swing would go, either into the ground or miss up and above. So if you can imagine down on the ground here, that an ideal shot would result in the club descending, striking the ball, having a low point after and then rising again. That would be all fair and well, but if the height of the golf swing was too high, that means that we would still collect the top of the ball, leading to a top shot. And then if it was too low down into the ground, because that golf club would still be working on a downwards angle as it was approaching the very bottom of the swing, that would also result in a fat shot. So how do we work on this? Well, understanding, number one, that getting a consistent brushing of the grass in front of the golf ball, that's a great exercise for also working on arc height. But knowing the differences between an arc height which is too high and then too low is also important. So what situation would we need an arc height which is a little bit higher? Well, that would be very common in something like a fairway bunker shot. You would want to clip the ball relatively clean without the club descending too much down into the ground. The opposite would be true for a greenside bunker shot. You would ensure that the bottom of the swing was further underneath the ball, you would collect the sand, and then the ball would pop out as a result. So when it relates to just a normal stock shot off the fairway or the rough, we want to have a slight descending angle as it strikes the ball, and then we want to get that golf club working just a centimetre or so down into the ground. So a great little exercise on top of what we've already discussed of the brushing of the grass just on the front side would then be working on the feeling or the sensation of how much grass you're trying to clip. Now, if we're getting a large banging of the ground, if you're hitting off a mat, or when you're on the grass and you're finding that you're getting too much of a divot, well, that would probably mean that you're getting a little bit too much steepness into your action, causing the club to descend too far into the ground. Alternatively, if the club is simply missing the ground at all, well, then we would know that we essentially need that golf swing to move a little bit lower down to the ground. So on top of the drill of brushing the ground, what we're looking for is just a very light brushing. So we're not trying to get a large banging noise, and we're also not trying to miss the ground completely. So a great way to practice this is to essentially hit a lot of shots off grass, really just looking to get either a small bruising of the grass in front of that line or a slight little divot depending on the sort of club that you're hitting. So once again, reiterating that, as we're working through the brushing, we're only looking for a very light brushing of that, nothing too heavy or not missing at all. So I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Ball Striking Masterclass. Please subscribe so you get any notifications of the upcoming videos, and I'll see you in the next episode.